Have you ever felt this way before? This is me, a 12-year-old boy back in France, and this is what most of my courses look like. I was at the back of the room, the teacher was at his board, he was writing down the lesson, giving it to us, and I had to take notes, write it down on paper. But that was really, really boring. And on the other hand, outside of school, I could go on the internet, I could look for the answers to the questions I had, and I learned much faster. This was way more interesting to me. So why was there such a difference between what was happening at school and what was happening outside of school? One day, I figured it out. Schools were like big dinosaurs. So once they were really adapted to their environment, you see like it goes very, very fast, and it's super adapted to this green, lush environment. Before, you know, you had books, but they were really expensive, so people learned their whole content by heart, and the teacher's knowledge was invaluable, so you would write it down to keep it safe somewhere. But then, something happened. A meteor crashed on Earth, and this meteor is the internet. This completely changed the environment, but schools were not adapted. Like this dinosaur, it's green, the environment is with lava, volcanoes, and schools aren't using the new tools that are available. Schools haven't learned the new ways of sharing knowledge. So this leads to a few imbalances. One first imbalance is between knowledge and links. Knowledge was really important before. You were supposed to know as much as you could in order to function well in society, and exams are here just to assess you and see if you actually know what you're supposed to know. But as Eric Schmidt, the CEO of Google, said in 2010, humanity is now producing as much data every 2 days as it has produced up to 2003. So it's not possible anymore for one single person to have all this in his head. You can see the dinosaur, his head is kind of growing too much. That's not possible anymore. On the other hand, we're getting very good at making links between things, creating connections between ideas. And if you don't know something, you don't remember it, it's not a problem. You can find it back, look for it, and you will find it. You will find your answer. And this is the balance that is going to shift, but that hasn't shifted yet at schools. Another rebalancing that should occur is between analytics and systemics. So what is analytics? It's when you take a problem, you focus really narrowly on it, and you go very deep to find the solution. And this, we've been trained at it, so we're actually pretty good at it. But there's an issue here. Computers are getting better at this than us. And for example, if you have to solve a mathematical equation, you could train a lot and you could be very fast, very good at it, but computers will always be faster than you. On the other hand, the new skill that's needed now is the ability to see the bigger picture. So to have a vision of the whole and be able to abstract from the overload of information we get every day and find patterns, have the intuitions of how to solve these big challenges. One last rebalancing that should occur is between competition and collaboration. It was once really important and your teachers wanted you to be the best in every single discipline. They wanted you to be the best at maths, the humanities, at biology, but that's not possible anymore. We have so many disciplines, so many specialities that you could explore, that now, with the new technology that's available, it's better to collaborate and work with teams of interdisciplinary specialists to tackle big problems and attack them from various angles. Okay, so now, back to our dinosaur. It's still adapted to the old way of doing things, just like schools. But how can it change? Hopefully, it has mutagenic agents in its environment. A mutagenic agent, just like the sun's rays or radioactive elements, is something that will hack the DNA of a living organism and introduce small changes, tweak it a little bit. And this will lead to new features appearing. So, voila, our dinosaur gets a horn. It might not be very useful. It would be just like in school, if you brought computers in the classroom, and people just use these computers to follow the teacher's lesson, the teacher's PowerPoint on their computer. So it's a mutation, it's something new, but it doesn't have a big impact. On the other hand, mutations can be very, very useful. So you see this dinosaur gets wings. And in their new environment where you have lava all around, it can be useful to just fly above it and go find food somewhere else. So for schools, what does this mean? It means that if you use the computers in a new way, let's say everyone in the classroom takes the computer, shares a Google Doc, and takes notes together. That's a new way to learn. It's collaboration, you can comment things, you can add links to videos, and this would be a useful mutation. So hopefully, with all these changes, we might reach a day where schools will be perfectly adapted to their environment. Magnifique, right? And here, you've seen how it would work for dinosaurs, but what are the mutagenic agents for schools? Well, you are the mutagenic agents. You as students, as teachers, as citizens, you can all have an impact and cause little mutations. They might work, they might not, but this is necessary for schools to evolve. So now I'd like to tell you about what we do in France. This is what we call TEDxYouth. And an TEDxYouth is a brainstorming session where we gather students, teachers, and citizens in order to test, imagine and test new ways of teaching and learning. This is a picture from our very first TEDxYouth in September last year. And you can see this is the first step. Everyone gives as many ideas as they can, so we should have like 100 ideas in this first step. And then we take the ideas that are the most promising and work on them to make prototypes and actually test these new ideas, these new mutations. And they might not work, but if they work, and it's usually the case, students and teachers are way happier. So an example of this is mutagenic agents right here. You have Clément, Stéphania, Marie, and we were invited at the UNESCO for the Education Innovation Days in France, and we did an TEDxYouth there, and one of the teachers had a very, very good idea. She wanted to have students comment a play, a theatrical play, but she didn't want it to be done the old way. So her idea, since a theater group was coming to town and playing that specific play as a show, she wanted the students to make an advertisement for it. So students had to learn, read the whole text, understand it, see how interesting it was, and make it interesting for others. And the teacher really wanted them to use YouTube or to make flash mobs. She wanted them to be creative with this. So this is an example of what education can do. And right now, since experience is always the best teacher, I'd like to do an education with you. So we are going to find 10 ideas of websites and tools that you can use in class, and I'll help you. This presentation has been done with Prezi.com, so we have one example, Prezi. Any other ideas of websites? Asana, yes, 2, another? Twitter, 3, yes. More ideas? Google, Dropbox, 5, more? Yes, 6, almost there. More ideas? YouTube, Wikipedia, we're at 8. Two more, that's where the best ideas come, when you push the limits. Okay, we're at 9. 10, perfect, so we have 10 ideas. We did the first American EduHaction. Congratulations. And I really believe that together, by brainstorming, introducing new mutations, testing them, even if they don't work, and they will surely work, we can all make sure that education is finally adapted to its new environment. Merci beaucoup.